So it's now the 1st of January, and everybody is probably either preparing to or starting on New Year's resolutions. I'm not personally one for New Year's resolutions, but I know that a lot of people find it a good time to either reset or to start out on new goals. Personally, I am having a reset this year, and I am happy about it. I have, because of traveling and all sorts, kind of broken step with my habits that I had started to build back up, and I need to get back to it. So, if you are on that path, I wanted to give you some tips and ideas about how to find goals that are both healthy and achievable, and how to get there. So, this one is taking a step beyond kind of the diet culture things. I think it's important to recognize that there are some unhealthy habits that are formed within the and recommended within the fitness industry. And I think that although trying to get healthy in itself is a good thing, um, the way we go about achieving those things is not necessarily always done with the best intentions. For example, one thing I don't show on my website or anything is any pictures of my clients, before and after pictures like that. I don't do that for a couple of reasons, but the main one is I think everybody's journey is their own, and I think that if the promotion of health is solely looked at in terms of weight loss, I think it can jeopardize people's health and well-being in the long run. So, in terms of goal setting, I won't necessarily set goals for weight loss for people. Well, I don't set weight loss goals for people. I personally don't provide nutrition information or detailed nutrition information because I'm not a nutritionist. Be careful of that out there. And in fact, in February, I'll be working with Andrea, who is a nutritionist, and she is qualified to talk about this sort of thing, particularly in this anti-diet culture space. So, when you are thinking about setting your goals, try to think about the long term, but we'll go into that more in the next slide. So many of us have spent much of our adult life or even our teen years on or about to start or just falling off a diet or exercise regime. There is nothing inherently wrong with wanting to lose weight, but it's often the reasons why we want to lose weight that are the problem. In these cases, the drivers aren't often health. They are possibly not even fitness related, and are instead driven by shame or others' opinions or emotional triggers. That means striving for the goal will often be more greatly influenced by our moods, and our emotional state, and even our environment, the people that we're around, for example. One of the best ways to figure out your goals is to interrogate them a little. So think about them a little deeper and find out what is at the root of it. This will help you to figure out whether your goal is actually healthy or whether, in fact, it is something to do with an emotion that you're currently feeling. If you are trying to compare the two, if your goal is to train so that you are perceived better by other people, it might not be in your best interest, because it's not that wanting to be perceived by people in a different way is bad necessarily, but if you're doing it because you feel that people don't like you or something like that, there might be something else going wrong, or going on in your life. If you're doing it for a long-term health goal, which is what I like to promote for all of my clients, something such as wanting to be able to run around with your kids in the garden, or your grandkids if that's the case, or being able to get up out of a chair when you're older. So you need to build the strength up now to maintain it and retain it until, you know, till you can no longer, or as long as possible. So just think about what you're hoping, whether what you're hoping to get out of this is healthy at the beginning. And sometimes that's a really hard question for us to ask ourselves. So really think about it, really interrogate it, as I said, and figure out whether there's an emotional trigger for it or whether it is just good practice and common sense to want to be able to be healthier and fitter. So whether your fitness goals are nutritional, finance, fitness, work related, whatever they are, it's far more likely you are going to achieve the goal if it's yours. For example, you have to believe in it. You have to want to do it. You have to have that vision yourself, and you have to really want it. If it's someone putting pressure on you, either a partner, a mother, a brother, anyone in your life, a boss even, then it probably won't be something you're going to stick to, because it will be external and it's not something you either care about, for example, or it's not something you feel ready to do yet, is another reason. So make sure that the goal you have in mind is a personal goal, and you'll find it much easier to get to where you're going. It needs to be measurable and achievable. Think about it in terms of how you look at performance goals at work. So you want to think about how you can track your progress. So if it is strength training, for example, are you able to lift more in a squat, or are you able to deadlift a little bit more? If it is just general movement, are you able to walk a bit further? Are you able to walk a bit faster? How is it that you're measuring that goal? And then, is it achievable? So say it is that by June you want to deadlift 100 kilos. Have you ever deadlifted before? Do you know how to deadlift? These sorts of things are going to have to play into the timeline. And maybe you need to research it. Maybe you need to work with a trainer. Maybe you need to go to a class or something that will help you with those goals. And maybe you need to ask whether that goal is achievable for you or not. So just consider, whether it's achievable. It may also be that you, for whatever reason, may have an injury, and that may mean that that goal is a little too far out in the future for you, and maybe June isn't the right time because you're recovering. So just think about those things as well. Think about how you frame your goal. Try to frame it in a way that is positive. Think about it in terms of something that you're giving to your life, you're adding to your life, rather than something that you're taking away. And think about how, for example, if it's nutrition, how all the good nutrients that you can add into your diet by eating more vegetables or drinking more water, which will give you more energy and stop you feeling tired. Think about it in fitness terms as you get to be outside more, and like try to avoid like, oh, I'll be spending less time on my phone, because I think mentally there's something that happens where we say, oh, I'm taking that away, I don't get to do that anymore. And instead of it being a positive change, it becomes a bit negative, even if the outcome is the same at the end of the day. Set review periods. Review periods are good. So to make sure that the goal that you have set remains achievable. Or are you completely blitzing it and getting well ahead of yourself? That might mean that your outcome or your goal will be achieved sooner, and you need to think of something else that will stretch you a bit further. If not, if it's that you're not getting towards that goal, it looks really far off still, perhaps you need to think about whether that goal, again, like I said at the beginning, is actually achievable. Perhaps something's happened in the meantime. Perhaps you have become injured. Perhaps you've got sick, or something at work has caused you not to be able to continue on that same path, then just rethink your goal. Try not to actually give up on it. Just push it further into the future, push it, change the way you structure it, think about it, and keep going. Try not to give up on it. So when you're reviewing your goals and whether they're still achievable, 21 days is a good place to start, because in order to achieve your goals, it's very likely that you're going to have to put in place some habits. 21 days is a really good place to review your habits, because that is the place that your habits start to begin to cement. It's not enough days normally, and you need a bit more. Some people will swear by a 21, 90-day rule, whereby your habits start to impair by 21 days, but if you can continue it for another 90 days, then you're really on track to keeping that habit for at least as long as possible. On average, people say it takes about 66 days to form a habit, but it varies greatly. The more you enjoy the thing that you're doing, the quicker it is likely to embed. So if it's something you dislike, then it might take a little bit longer. Hopefully, whatever habits you're trying to input into your life, they're going to make you feel better. So hopefully you will enjoy them in the long run. Planning how you will achieve your goals will require building habits. So as I've said, figure out what those habits are and how you will embed them. If it is, you're running for a marathon, you're going to have to do a training schedule and stick to that schedule. It's going to be a few days a week. Figure out when the best time of day is for you. Some people have more energy in the morning, or some people have more energy in the middle of the day or evening. You might have to, if you're in the middle of the day particularly, you might need to move your long runs to the weekends. So just think about how it's going to work for you. You will, on the running thing, be careful not to run before you can walk. So if you are struggling at the moment to do a 5K, you probably don't want to set your first run at a 5K. So you may have to do interval training to get there, so running and walking to build up over time. And you may only want to do a couple of runs a week, like 3 max, to kind of build up that strength in your legs to be able to do the run, and your cardiovascular system to support you. Once you are achieving the 3 and you're getting to the 5K or wherever you're headed to, then you can add in more days or you can add in distance. Once that happens, make sure that your habits are healthy. We talked already about goals not necessarily being healthy, but sometimes even if the long-term goal is healthy, the habits that we put in place to get there can either start out unhealthy or begin to become unhealthy. If you are, for example, calorie counting can be something that can become an unhealthy habit. It's not something that I recommend to my clients. But if you're doing a course in February, Andrea will go into loads more detail around that for you. In terms of fitness, if you aren't supporting your body with nutrition, running 5 times a week is not healthy. So if you need to think about all of your health in when you're making sure your goals are achievable. So don't just think about one goal in isolation. One factor in isolation. Think about the whole thing. Don't fall at the first hurdle. We often do, particularly when building habits, fall down at the first hurdle. If you have a night out or perhaps you have a bit of a cold for a bit, we either have trouble getting back on track or restarting it all. So if you are someone who definitely does suffer from that, like me, try to put something in place where you can either substitute it because you're either because it's been a bit of a night out and you're feeling a bit rough. Try go for a long walk or something instead of a run, or try even if it's the gym that you're meant to be doing, try go out, do a long walk, do a stretching session, do something that's going to still not be too like affecting for your health, but may make you still feel active. Same goes if you have a cold, maybe it's a really light, gentle yoga session that will help you feel a bit stretched. It might even help relieve you and sleep better. Obviously, if you're unable to get out of bed, don't take that as your advice. Just listen to your body as well at the end of the day. But if that is something you can do, it will help you feel like you haven't got off the train that you're on. All right, so finding a buddy to do your exercise or like achieve your goals with is really helpful because you can help encourage each other. Um, you might not have the exact same goals, but even if you're there to support each other, go to the gym at the same time, or if one of you's walking and the other one's running, go to the same park, and you can like do it together. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can meet for a coffee at the end, and like you've just got someone to do it with you. It helps you get there. Or alternatively, find a cheerleader. It might be your mum, your dad, your partner, your best friend. They generally are your best cheerleaders. So engage them, tell them what you're trying to achieve, and when you achieve something that you're happy about, like the 21 days, tell them, and they will celebrate the goals with you. So long-term goals are great. Health goals are great. Make sure that they're healthy though in the long run. Having short-term goals to help you get towards your long-term goal is also a great way to get there. The ultimate goal, to say it one more time, is to have a happy and healthy life. So the more you can do now to support yourself in the future, it is only going to be beneficial. So think about the things that you need in your life in order to help achieve it. So if you find that after January you need a little more support in helping you to achieve those goals, I'm running a program which is Body.Engaged for Life. I'm running it alongside Andrea, who is a fantastic nutritionist, and she and I are going to give you all the tips and tricks that you need, as well as a fitness program you can follow, or a class-based program you can follow throughout. There'll be loads of workshops and things like that for you to come along to, all done online. So go to our website and sign up. See you soon.